This is the Golden Gate, also called the Eastern Gate or the Gate of Mercy, in Jerusalem. It's been sealed for nearly 500 years. Most people walk by without noticing, but if you stop and look, you can feel something special. This gate isn't just old stone, it's sacred to both Jews and Christians. Why? Because many believe the Messiah will one day enter Jerusalem through this very gate. Now, something strange is happening. Dust is falling, stones are shifting. Could the gate be preparing to open? To understand why it's sealed, we go back to the 1500s, when the Ottoman Empire ruled Jerusalem. The ruler, Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, rebuilt the city walls, and for reasons not written down, he sealed this gate. At that time, people believed the Messiah would come from the east and enter through this gate. To stop that, Suleiman not only closed it, but also built a Muslim cemetery in front of it. In Jewish law, priests can't walk through cemeteries without becoming ritually unclean, a move that seems very intentional. Now, centuries later, something might be happening. If people expected the Messiah to be a priest, that might have caused a spiritual block. It's powerful to think about. A gate meant for God's chosen one, locked shut. A wall standing in the way of promise. But history shows us, you can't stop God's plan. Pharaoh tried. Babylon tried. Rome tried. Still, prophecy moved forward, not with noise, but with quiet certainty. The Bible doesn't name the gate directly, but it gives us clues. While in exile in Babylon, the prophet Ezekiel had a vision. He saw the glory of God entering the temple from the east, through the East Gate, Ezekiel 43. But earlier he also saw something sad, God's glory leaving the temple, again through the east, Ezekiel 10. It's a cycle, God's presence coming close, then leaving. Hundreds of years later, during Passover, Jesus entered Jerusalem. People were excited. He rode a donkey, fulfilling the prophecy in Zechariah 9 verse 9, which spoke of a humble king bringing salvation. His path. From the Mount of Olives, across the Kidron Valley, and through the East Gate. It was quiet, not loud, but meaningful. The Messiah had entered his city. But it didn't end there. Acts 1 says Jesus went back to heaven from the Mount of Olives. Zechariah 14 says he will return the same way, his feet standing on the mount, facing east. So the pattern continues. The gate remains sealed. The prophecy still waits. For 2,000 years, the East Gate has stood in silence, waiting for what comes next. The Eastern Gate in Jerusalem, once open, is now sealed with stone, silent and still. But the city around it is full of life. The Western Wall echoes with prayers. The Dome of the Rock shines under the sun. The markets are busy and loud. But when you walk to the Eastern Wall and stand before the Gate of Mercy, something feels different. It's not just quiet, it feels heavy, mysterious. Lately, quiet rumors have started. Not headlines, but whispers. Some tour guides talk about dust slipping through cracks and stones shifting slightly. Engineers have seen small misalignments. A few say they've heard faint sounds from inside. No one has explained it officially. Some say it's just age, erosion, or shifting foundations. But others believe it's something more, a sign. In Matthew 24, Jesus warned of signs, wars, rumors, shaking ground, and strange voices. He said, "Watch, because you don't know the hour." The Bible tells us in Hebrews 11 verse 3 that the world we see was made from what is unseen, created by God's command. This reminds us, the physical world is just a shadow of something deeper, more powerful. So when we look at the Eastern Gate, we're not just seeing old stone. We might be looking at a message, a quiet sign from the unseen world. We're standing at the line between the natural and the divine. In the Bible, God doesn't usually speak loudly. He works in quiet but powerful ways, like a whisper to Elijah, a baby in a manger, or a king riding a donkey instead of a chariot. These are not mistakes. They show us that God's ways are different from ours. His kingdom starts small, like a seed, and grows. So when we see strange things at the Eastern Gate, stone dust falling or odd sounds, we shouldn't ignore them. Maybe this is how God gives signs, not with fireworks, but with small, quiet moments. Look across from the gate, and you'll see the Mount of Olives. It's more than just a hill. It's holy ground. In the book of Ezekiel, God's glory leaves the temple and rests on the Mount of Olives. It's a moment of sorrow, but also hope. Because Ezekiel also saw God's glory returning from the east, through the same gate, Ezekiel 43. Later, Jesus follows this exact path. He crosses the Mount of Olives and enters Jerusalem through the Eastern Gate on Palm Sunday. The people shout, "Hosanna!" God's glory passes through again. But it's not the end. Jesus leaves again, and after rising from the dead, he ascends to heaven from the Mount of Olives. The disciples were staring into the sky, amazed. But two angels appeared and said, "Why are you looking up? Jesus will return the same way you saw him go." Acts 1 verse 1. The prophet Zechariah says clearly, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives. That's not a symbol, it's a real place. It's a direct path from the mountain, across the valley, to the sealed Eastern Gate of Jerusalem. Throughout history, there have always been watchers, people who sense that history is not random, but headed toward a purpose. These watchers look beyond the news and feel something deeper. In recent years, many of them, scholars, pastors, writers, and believers, have visited the Eastern Gate. They report strange things. A deep, physical vibration in the ground. Fine dust falling from the gate with no wind. A low groaning sound from behind the wall. These aren't fantasies. They echo the Bible's idea of watchmen on the wall, Isaiah 62 verse 6, people who stay alert, day and night. Jerusalem isn't just an ancient city. It's at the heart of prophecy, mentioned over 800 times in the Bible. Psalm 122 commands us, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem." Why? Because Jerusalem is where heaven and earth have met over and over again. Solomon's temple stood here. Prophets cried out here. Jesus taught, wept, and warned here. In Luke 19 verse 42, he said with sorrow, "If only you knew what would bring you peace." That warning still matters today. The world is in chaos, but Jerusalem stands like a watchtower, sacred and central. Could it be that another divine moment is near, and most don't see it? Jesus once spoke about a fig tree in Matthew 24. Most scholars say it symbolizes Israel. He said, "When its branches become tender and grow leaves, summer is near." Then he added, "When you see these signs, know that it is near, even at the door." Could that door be the sealed Eastern Gate? When Israel was reborn in 1948, many believed it was the first sign, the fig tree's first leaf. And now, many eyes are on the gate once more. Since then, the signs have grown: earthquakes, wars, spiritual awakenings, chaos, and falling away from faith. But one quiet, powerful sign stands out. A sealed gate may be starting to move. Jesus once said, "It is near, even at the door." What if he meant that literally? Imagine it, an ancient stone gate, shut for nearly 500 years. Now, dust falls. Stones shift. The ground trembles. Is it falling apart, or being prepared? This isn't just an old gate. It could be a signal. When it opens, it might not come with fire or thunder, but heaven will feel it. Prophecy has waited. And this gate could be the final step before a king returns. Are we ready? The world sleeps. But the gate stirs. And heaven is watching. Are you? If this message spoke to your heart, don't ignore it. Stay awake. Watch. The king is near. Like, share, and subscribe if you believe this could be a real sign. Not just history, but prophecy unfolding now. It's not over. It may just be beginning.